Now finally we're going to take a look at schedule. And don't forget, this is where your content library is. So everything you've done here is now over here. So let's click on schedule and get going. Remember, I had 3 locations listed for training, and we're going to use this marquee number 1 here. And again, I'm going to select the zone. So let's take a look first at zone 1. And here we have content that's in the content library ready to use for zone 1. Here's a couple that have been selected from the catalog. They're here. And as you can see, if I click on the word select, it turns to selected. And you can see here, these are selected, and if I click off of them, they'll all just be waiting for me to make a decision as to whether I want to use them. Now, anytime that, sometimes you might look back and you might look at this and you may have forgotten, well, okay, it was called 4 Kittens, but you don't remember what it was. Not a problem. Just click on it. It'll come up for you. You'll get to see what it looks like. You can edit it and take you right back to an editing. Once you're finished, you save it and it'll come back here to your content library. And you can also copy it, or you could export it and give it to someone else and close it. So there we have the possible content that we have available for us in our content library, and we can make our playlist out of this. So let's just say for this particular playlist, I'm going to use these, let's say I'm going to use these 6 spots. And this time I'm not going to select any of those. These are the ones that I want. Next thing I'm going to do is hit Review Playlist. So here's the spots that we did select. As you'll notice, the ones that we didn't choose, they're not here anymore. And that really helps us hone in on the ones we really want to look at. And right now it tells us our playlist is dynamic. What that means is that when it starts playing, it'll just play in a random kind of order. There's a little bit of intelligence behind it. It doesn't play the same things back to back, but sort of plays in a random or shuffle order. And if we like that and we're happy with what we have, we can just click on this word submit, either at the top or the bottom. That will submit the content. It'll get processed internally and then go and sit and wait for your player to check in to get it. And I want to show you a couple of other things that goes on here. If you'll notice, under every single spot, there's the word schedule. And a good way for you to remember where exactly do you find this little word schedule, if you think of it as it's in the last step that you're going to do, possibly, before you submit your playlist. Now, you didn't have to. You can just go ahead and submit. You're good to go. But if you want to do some special scheduling, that's where you're going to find it, the last step before you submit. So let's just for fun click on the 4 Kittens here. So let's click it. And we're going to get a pop-up screen. Now, the first one is date and time. And what this means is that you can schedule this to start and stop on specific dates. So let's suppose I want this particular one, and you'll see this little nice pop-up of a calendar here. Maybe I want this spot to start playing, maybe I don't want it to start until February the 15th. And let's suppose I want it to play through January, February, March. I want it to stop in May. So I'll come out here to May. Maybe I want it to stop on May 15th. So great, easy way to put dates in. Now, if you want to use times, I could say I want this particular spot to start playing, let's say, every morning at 10:30. And here's our AM and PM. And maybe I want it to play during the day until, let's say, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's when I want it to stop. I can change my AM right here and change this back. So it's going to start at 10:30 in the mornings, and it's going to play in my playlist. It'll keep playing until about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, or exactly 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I've got PM. Now, the default is to have spots play every day of the week. But if you don't want it to play on Thursday, you just click the check mark off there. Maybe you don't want it to play on Wednesdays or Thursdays. If I want the same spot maybe to play at night times on Sunday, I can just click it here and add another spot to it and another session and just do it one more time. But weather is a one that's worth looking at least quickly. You can have a spot that you actually connect to the weather conditions outside. Let's suppose you own a convenience store and you want to give away free snow shovels if the weather is really miserable outside. So you can say, hey, look, when the weather is less than, I don't know, maybe it's less than 30 degrees outside, and you want this particular spot to play when there's freezing rain, and you could even have some rain, I guess, at 30 degrees, and snow showers and wind and just lousy weather, maybe even some winter thunderstorms. So if those are the conditions, it's cold and miserable outside, and you have this great ad for free snow shovels or free rock salt or whatever it is. You can just connect that spot to the weather. It won't play when it's nicer than this, but every time the weather gets perfectly lousy, your special will play, and you would just save it. And I'm going to click on Other. Now, some spots let you set the duration. Here it says the control is not available for this particular one, but if it was, you'd see a little box, and you can type in whatever seconds you want. You can make it, and remember it's seconds, not minutes, but you might type in, maybe it's scheduled to be like a 20-second spot. Maybe you want it to play for 60 seconds. This one here is an important one, and this says expand to full screen. And what this means is, remember we have those 3 zones. Right now we're working in the video zone with all of these spots, but let's suppose this particular one that we want it to play full screen. In other words, when it plays, it's going to cover up all the 3 zones and it's going to fill the entire screen. Audio down here, but let's suppose, just for fun, let's go ahead and save this one thing that we've done in schedule. So this is on our kittens, and we're going to expand it to full screen, and I'm going to save that. So now here we have all of our pieces of content. We did do a little bit of special scheduling with the first one, but really pretty much left the others alone. So let's click on Schedule again, and we'll stay with our Marquee 1 location. And let's go to the banner zone. Here's the spots that are available, and they're all selected. We could change our mind and deselect them, or let's go with, well, I'll tell you what, let's just keep them all in there. So we'll select them, and we're going to review the playlist. Just like our video zone, if we wanted to put them in some kind of linear order or do special scheduling to them, we certainly could. But for our purposes, let's say we're good to go, and we'll just click on Submit. And now let's just go to the last zone. It's going to be that bottom zone. And here's the content that we have. Now we have all these selected, and let's just go ahead and leave them like that, and we'll send them along their way. Once again, if we wanted to do something special with those and put them in some kind of linear order or do other kinds of maybe future dates, we can. But we're happy with it, and we're going to just hit Submit.